In a landmark ruling delivered yesterday, the Constitutional Court declared a key section of the Citizenship Act to be unlawful, finding that it unjustifiably infringed upon the rights of South Africans who had also become citizens of other nations. The judgment, stemming from an application brought by the Democratic Alliance, specifically addressed Section 61A of the Citizenship Act, and the court ordered that this ruling must take immediate effect. Let's look now at the intricacies of the decision and understand its practical applications with Chris Waters, who is a leading expert in immigration law. Chris, good morning and thank you for your time. As always, appreciate it. And I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correctly, by the way. But for those...
Yeah, that's close enough. Thank you.
What is it?
No, Waters. Yes.
Okay, Waters. For those unfamiliar with the law, what used to happen when a South African acquired citizenship of another country without prior permission?
Okay, what the section provided was that where an adult South African acquired a second citizenship through what was called a formal and voluntary act, without getting the prior permission of Home Affairs, they automatically lost their South African citizenship. So this then triggered the problem that people would have lost their citizenship, but without knowing about it. And perversely, quite often, neither did Home Affairs.
All right. And typically, why would people have dual citizenship? Or, I mean, is there something beyond dual citizenship, multiple citizenship?
Oh, yes. I mean, we've had clients who've had, 6, 7 citizenships. They may have acquired it for, it could be for tax reasons. It could have been because, they're kind of commuting between different countries and it's for passport reasons. There could be any number of reasons why people have dual citizenship. Sometimes people want to have a backstage pass, as it were, or, if somewhere else to go to shoot things. They're not like situation in South Africa, for argument's sake.
All right. So the court has now ruled that this provision infringed on Section 20 of the Constitution. Explain what that section guarantees and why it matters.
Well, the Constitution says that everyone, no one may be deprived of their citizenship, so that there was a lot of argument as to what was, or debate as to what was the distinction between losing your citizenship and being deprived of your citizenship. But essentially, what the court did was to clarify the principle, or not clarify, clarify what it meant by saying, in this context, those who had lost, those who had lost, and those who had been told they lost their citizenship have now got their citizenship back, or they are deemed to be citizens, and that dual citizenship is allowed in South Africa.
So the case has far-reaching consequences. What happens now to the thousands who lost their citizenship under the struck-down law?
Well, the minister has, first of all, he's welcomed the judgment and has said that they are setting up a portal for people who believe they are affected by this, or believe they're affected by this, to engage the department. I think there may be some challenges in that. The court didn't deal with the mechanics of how people's citizenship would be restored. I think they may have left that for a battle on another day. So at this time, but it certainly poses a problem because, for example, the Citizenship Act also provides that South African citizens must enter and leave South Africa on their South African passports. So if you're now sitting in New York and you've been told that you are now South African, or you've got your South African citizenship back, but you don't have a South African passport, and for example, you want to be back in South Africa, say for Christmas, the chances of that happening, of you being allowed to enter on your South African passport, or getting the South African passport in time, are not good at all. So I think it's going to require some pretty energetic action on the part of, and creative action on the part of the minister for this to work in the,
in the practical
soon.
sense. Yeah, in the practical sense. So, as you've seen, this other issue comes in now, the argument that dual citizenship might create conflicts of loyalty. How did the court address this concern in its judgment?
The court looked at the issue of this kind of, this idea of loyalty and said that essentially the world has kind of moved on from that sort of that kind of constricted or restricted sense of loyalty, a rather closed sense or insular sense of loyalty, saying, in this kind of global age, that's no longer appropriate. You can be loyal to, South Africa, you can be loyal to America at the same time, or France or wherever. So they didn't see that as being a problem. I must just point out that the department has stressed, or the judgment did stress, that it is only people who lost their citizenship in terms of the Citizenship Act that are getting their citizenship back. Our citizenship laws for the last 50 plus years has been taking people's citizenship away on the same basis. So people who lost their citizenship prior to 1995, in terms of the legislation then, they're not getting their citizenship back at this point. It's only those who lost in terms of the Citizenship Act after 1995. So that's again a battle for another day, which again the court didn't address.
Yeah, that's interesting, because could they ostensibly use this as some kind of precedent now?
Well, yes. I mean, one would hope actually that the minister would then be open to people approaching him and saying, look, the principle has been established. The department isn't opposed to it. So you must come up with a mechanism to allow us to be reinstated, because we have lost in terms of the kind of apartheid era laws, or even the colonial era laws on citizenship.
Immigration attorney Chris Waters, thank you very much for talking to us this morning.